Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is April 11, 2023, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Bitcoin pops above 30K. And we mentioned this yesterday as it was forming this wedge formation. But first, no major economic events scheduled for today. So as we look at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, we're watching the US dollar gain versus the Japanese yen, and looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both bounce back after an early morning sell-off. Now looking at commodities, gold pretty much bouncing on support and oil remains unchanged. Now looking at the stocks, tech stocks made that bounce back. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin hits above 30K as mentioned earlier after hitting that wedge formation. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the Japanese yen first because that's the major move. And look at this, okay? The dollar making its way back, right back to that 133 level, trickling down now, but making that way back. Now, if it does get this bull flag, which we see here, and then takes it up above, we can see it back in that 136-ish level, and that's really my next resistance-ish level. So this is really important. And although it is hitting, retracing at resistance right now, so it may still retrace, but keep an eye on this because if it does break out, it will break out. Okay, that's a very important note in the Japanese yen. Now looking at the other majors, Euro USD really unchanged day to day. So was the GBP, not really doing much there, just making a little bit of a way back for the dollar, but not much. Okay, now jumping into commodities, gold, this is nice, bouncing off of support at that 1956-ish level, 1996-ish level right there, and you can see that beautifully. It's at 2001, and so it may still have some room on the upside, so keep an eye on it. Now looking at oil, it hasn't changed. Okay, still unchanged for the week, didn't fill in the gap, just holding to its gains and staying steady. Now jumping into the US markets, the US dollar, the Dow Jones made some way back yesterday as it sold off in early morning trading, but really not doing much, okay? Really waiting for some of the bigger news coming out later in the week. And jumping into the NASDAQ as well, same story. We hit a low of 12,984 and made it somewhat back as a 200-point move yesterday as we, kind of consolidated. Now, looking at the stocks, they made a comeback. Apple made a comeback as it sold off in the early mornings. And if we look at Facebook, also settled at 214 from its 216 high. That's an important element there. Now, jumping into the biggest play of the day, Bitcoin. This was the biggest play yesterday, and we mentioned this, okay? It did look like it's making this wedge formation, and that's exactly what happened. Then it popped right out above, and I did mention this. Look at yesterday's market news. As I did mention this would be a potential breakout, and sure enough, that's the case. Now, I'm not celebrating it too soon because I'd like to see some follow through here, okay, for it to settle at the end of the day above 30K and maybe even push a little bit higher to kind of show that that sustaining buying is backed up with more buying, and there is some room for this to even go a little bit higher. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, the next real threshold is 35,000. So that's an important element for this because it traded as low as 16,000 this past year, high 15,000. So it's an important comeback for Bitcoin as we're entering, the major earnings season for some of these stocks. So this is very important, and this is seasonal. Every time it hits somewhere in January, it sells off and then comes back around this time. So this is really an important element for Bitcoin as well. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.